Yo. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Wonderful. I appreciate you guys taking the time, by the way. It means a lot.
Yeah, anytime.
What are your names?
She's Sarah, I'm Kirby.
Sarah and Kirby. And so you guys, I didn't even know you guys were, so you guys work together. Wallasauce is Wallasauce? How'd you
Wallasauce.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. How long have you guys been doing this for? I'm just gonna, the way I do this usually, I just ask questions and we talk and we see where it goes.
Totally, yeah. We started doing this clothing shit probably for like 4 years now, 2017. Sarah taught me how to like sew because she made me some shit for my birthday. And it's just kind of like taken off from there. We've been learning, doing like new shit ever since, you know, as far as like different techniques, like embroidery, screen printing, but also like the maintenance on like the industrial machines and shit. Like, you know, it's all shit where you have to continue learning and just kind of like be adaptive on our toes and shit like that.
Okay. And so Sarah, you were doing clothing before that? Or how did you get to knowing how to?
I made a dog bed in 6th grade, and it was really dope. And now I had to take like a FACS class, like a family and consumer science class, and they taught you how to use a machine. So when I got older, I was never like making clothes, but when I got older, there was a point where I think I would just like ran out of ideas, and I was like, oh, I can try to like sew him a gift. And then I like just was like, oh, that's right, I know how to use a machine. And my mom gave me hers to use. But yeah, I wasn't like extensively making clothing before we started teaching ourselves.
Really cool. I just have a question. What's a FACS class? You said
it's family and consumer science. That's the like acronym for it. It's just what my school calls it.
It's like a home ec kind of class.
Yeah, it's home ec.
And so you get to learn like how to do your own stuff in your own house and stuff?
No, it was like at school, but it was like a homemaker class. Like you would cook, like we do the simplest recipes. We were like in like 6th grade. It was like 11. So we were so like,
I didn't realize. I thought it was like a college thing, but no. Okay.
Oh, no. When I was younger, I took like a class, and then yeah. So I learned like very briefly when I was younger, but nothing extensive.
Okay.
That was before they like axed actual like good programs from public schools like that. Like actually like mending your shit and like cooking and cleaning.
Yeah, it was
that
pretty
sounds
cool.
Like every kid should go to that class. Like I don't know.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah! Like I fucking go in it myself at this age. Okay, so and you started making clothes. Well, you started making clothes after you making a dog bed. I actually respect it a lot. And how is the process to go from there to where you guys are now? Like anything you can just you spend on like, you know, how was it your journey as an artist? Like the enjoyment of kind of getting to a point where.
You want to go in there?
It's been long and adaptive. I feel like we started making things that were within our skill set, and then as our skill set improved, we started incorporating the ethical goals and the moral goals and the personal, you know, input into the structure of the business as well as like the individual pieces. So that's when like I personally have always been super into sustainability, but bringing it into the business was like a whole new door that opened. So I would say like maybe a year in, we discovered like how much more we enjoyed using upcycled materials and like that what we could create around that. And I think that was like a big point in our growth moving forward. And then we started learning, like, instead of altering things that already existed, we started learning how to make things from scratch, how to source used materials is really important. Just like we've definitely learned a fucking insane amount of shit in 5 years that I never would have like imagined
And do you think it
Getting
only
to this
limits?
point.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to.
No, you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think you said you've learned so much. Do you think it only limits you to like clothing and fabric, or like actual like life lessons? I reckon.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have to learn how to be patient. You have to learn how to like do things for other people. You have to learn how to be communicative and personable, and like time management is so important. Like we do everything ourselves. So
the one thing that like definitely people don't realize when it comes to like owning your own like brand or just doing anything like yourself is you understand like how much time goes into everything else that's not just fucking making shit. And bro, it is like the amount of time that you're actually making shit in comparison to like doing anything else is probably like 30% of the time you're working on shit, and the rest is like you're packaging, you're making labels, you're doing the books.
not even
you're
that,
fucking,
it's like you're networking, you're sourcing.
Dude, but
it's great. It's so many different aspects of like, because you have, if you worked for somebody else, you'd be doing one of those jobs, whereas like
Absolutely.
do them all.
Right. You just wear so many hats when it comes to this shit. So it's like just having to, like I said, like earlier, like maintaining like the machines and shit, bro. It's like if you don't have an understanding of how it works, of like how the machine works, and like your shit breaks on you or something, you need to fix it. That's a fuck ton of money that you have to spend on like someone to go like maintenance your machine. And like, especially if we're talking industrial, you know, it's like then you have to fucking lug the thing out of wherever you're bringing it and then bring it down to wherever. And it's just like, holy shit, it's a whole thing. It's a whole process.
You guys have industrial machines now? You guys have gotten to that level where you guys, wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
And so you guys, this is like your full-time job now? Like, or
it's like,
it's been how long?
We're so close to like,
we supplement.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta have a fallback for like when you have to like work on shit, and there's that gap between like events and stuff, like you gotta make it work.
Yeah. And like we live in like, I don't know if you ever fucking heard of it, but we live in North Adams, Mass, which is like,
I lived in Boston for a bit, but I haven't heard of North.
Oh, okay.
I went to school there, so like I was kind of in that sector.
Oh, where'd you go to school?
Northeastern.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. Where'd you go? Architecture?
No, I did business, man. Honestly.
Oh, okay, all right.
My art side wasn't strong enough at that point that I had to, I had to learn the numbers too. So.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're ever in Boston, it's like the northeast part or northwest part of the state, like almost right next to Vermont and New York. It's like, yeah, it's like right on the border in the mountains and shit. So it's like the amount of people doing the stuff that we're doing is like not many, just because there's really not a lot of people in this fucking area in general.
But there are a lot of artists out here, like to this point of just like, I don't understand how the community out here is what it is. Like, it's just, it's awesome. But not a lot of people make clothes. So it's kind of like a little bit of a niche for where we are. But most of our presence is online anyway, or like in local spaces or whatever. But
so and where's, so you said, what was the place? Adams,
North Adams, Mass.
There's like a cool community of artists out there.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, like
there's just a fuck ton of like really cool artists, like, and you know, just really talented artists in their own like respects. Like I know, so like we're talking like, you know, Father Aki has his own style, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that's pretty much like how you compare it to everybody else. It's like everybody has their own style.
If you see something, you could be like, oh,
that's that person.
Like,
I love that.
Makes sense.
Bro, right. And like same with like Poncho and like Gavin and like fucking bro, like all these people, like you see their shit and you're like, oh, that's distinctly this character.
But
so
through
it's like
different mediums, it's not even close to being all clothing. It's like there's a lot of painters, there's a lot of ceramicists, there's a lot of just like innovative artists. There's a lot of services. Like it's really crazy.
Yeah.
Are you guys from there, or did you guys move there?
We went to school out here. So I'm from originally right next to New Bedford, Massachusetts, Fairhaven. and she's from Situate, Rhode Island.
Okay. How'd you guys meet? College? School?
Yeah. Yep. I used to I lived right next to her sophomore year, and
he'd always just walk in my room when I was doing shit. And I hated it. It was so fucking annoying. And then yep, and then you hang out, you burn one down, and then you're friends.
I respect that. So I wanted to go back to something that you said earlier, like how hard it is to actually outsource sustainable material, or like you said Upwork material. And I feel like there's like upcycled material. There's a lot of people like that, at least I hope, that are artists that watch these interviews and on my page. So how would you recommend, out of your knowledge and experience, to go about that?
Good question.
Ask local people, like start in your community, because stuff that like everybody wants to start big and like change things that are like go to big companies and ask for scraps, and like that only really works if you're somewhere where you have a lot of like production like that. Where like where we are, we barely have department stores. So what we do, you know, one specific example was like a friend of mine heard about a woman's mother passing away who was a seamstress, and they were cleaning out their house. So I literally looted this place. Like I had so much stuff, and I paid her, you know, lump sum, like maybe 25% of what, you know, I would have paid for anything in that capacity. And we're still using it. I got it like, you know, maybe 2.5 years ago now. Yeah. And it's just like, and stuff like that, just being resourceful and like thinking outside of the box, because you don't need to go to Joann's and buy new fucking fabric. Like you can start with what you have. And at least for me, like sustainability reigns. And
yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
You good there?
Okay.
Yeah. So I try to do the most sustainable option first, whereas, you know, any effort to be sustainable is more effort than none. So like using 50% upcycled materials in a project could save you money and also give you like a new idea that like you didn't think you could have before, because of an aspect of a pair of jeans that you're working with already has belt loops. So like, what do you know what I mean? Like it forces you to be a little more creative, but it's also like you can find shit anywhere like to use, you know.
The one thing too is like everybody knows people that are thrifting nowadays.
That too.
So it's like if you don't have the time, because again, there's so much shit to do and like whatever the fuck you're doing, if you don't have the time to go and do the shit yourself, especially around here where there's not as many thrift shops and like stores that are on demand, there's a lot of people that will go like an hour out plus, you know, and go fucking hit every shop that they can in the radius and then come back with like whatever kind of shit.
And we have friends that'll be like, that have clients that they do this for, like they'll thrift for people specifically. Yeah, it's pretty neat. So if we ever need anything, we put out a call to like those people that we know, and like they let us know what they get. And it really, you know, it is really like use what you find. So it doesn't really matter if it's a type of blanket we're looking for, a type of sweater we're looking for, it doesn't matter. They just grab it. And then that's the fun part too, is like you never really know what you're working with.
Yeah, like assemble it too, I reckon. And it must even like kind of direction you in ways that you weren't thinking you would go initially. You'd be like, okay, fuck, I have to use this little piece of material, you know.
Dude, that's what happens when people, especially like they'll just like we've gotten people that'll just like drop shit off at our studio. and then we're just like, well, what the fuck? Now it's our problem, because people didn't want to fucking even take the time to go down to Goodwill to drop their shit off. They're just dropping it off at the studio, which is like,
but on the flip side, that's somebody seeing our service more valuable than like taking something to Goodwill. And granted, people aren't always as educated as we would enjoy them to be about what we can take and use like really efficiently, because some stuff is like, okay, well now I have to like figure out what to do with this stained like mouse chewed shirt, and it's like okay, but it's the effort, you know, to be more sustainable in the first place, that person's taking that is really what's important. So we deal with that, but it is like it is something that happens a lot.
It just gets to be a lot sometimes, you know. That's all.
Yeah, it can be.
You guys have to go to Goodwill and drop off the stuff that you can't.
Dude, exactly.
Or
It's just
like-
an extra trip.
Or find a creative way to use it,
Yeah.
which is my favorite part. Like I like to be like challenged in that sense, like how little can I throw away, but in the sense of like giving it to not keeping it and always like I do, you know, it sounds like a hoarding thing to say.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm
not
exactly like that.
bad.
I don't throw anything away. Like there was this one thing that like there was this little arm that I got from this broken kind of Halloween thing because I work for like Miramax, so they had this like Halloween thing. This guy, and all it was like the hand with the knife, and I was like, oh, see, and I still have this hand with a knife like a year and a half later, and I don't know what to do with it. But I'm like, I don't know, I'll stick it somewhere. But I get that mentality of always trying to.
My God, the time just passed, bro.
That
Fucking
would've been-
Halloween. Are you
could've
kidding me?
No, I
Put it
know.
on a cake or something.
Yeah.
I know something. I still haven't figured out. I wanted to make like a handle out of it or something. I'm still trying to figure it
The
out.
idea will come and then you will know and then you'll be happy you didn't throw it away.
Exactly.
Wait, that's sick though. So you work at Miramax? What do you do over there?
I actually do consumer goods and merchandising. So we just pretty much, it's essentially licensing. So we collaborate with cool brands to make, in this case, this was like a collection that we had with Supreme. It's like Pinhead and Supreme. So we have to pretty much we give them the rights to the images and then they send us
That's
licensing.
crazy.
No, it's a fun job because you get to really interact with so many little brands and big brands at the same time, and you get to kind of dictate what they can and cannot do. But it's pretty fun. It's less fun than you would imagine because it's a lot of like paperwork and like
Right.
and emails and everything. But it's the most creative thing I could have got into at this time. So
That's awesome,
That's
man.
sick.
Yeah,
thank you.
that's sweet.
Um,
Yeah.
I had a question in regards to when you guys talked about your studio. Like, how important for an art? Are you guys there? Sorry, there was a little lag.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to plug your phone.
You good? Yeah.
Good. So, how important is it for an artist to have a studio, like a designated area to work in?
So for us, it got to a point where our apartment was just overflowing with shit. Like we couldn't our whole living room, dining room area, I guess, where we're supposed to eat. I mean,
It still is a home studio, but it was a really crammed home studio. And the spare bedroom upstairs, home, had storage, clothes. It was, when we first started, we were in a different apartment and we had our own separate rooms, but my room was smaller, but we used it more because it was closer to the kitchen. And my desk had my sewing machine. I'd sit in my swivel chair and I'd spin around and I'd iron and I'd spin around and I sew. And it was just ridiculous. And it got to the point where we were like, okay, you have an empty room. We'll just move into the empty room. So we posted up in there. So we went from a smaller bedroom to another bedroom. And then we had an apartment that had a big space that was supposed to be a bedroom, but it was probably a room and a half. So then we went up, we just slowly climbed the studio size ladder until the space that we're in now, which is really fucking big, big enough that we don't need to have extra storage at the apartment, really, not really anything at all compared. So it's nice.
And there's room to breathe because we had just moved out of the apartment into the studio space last year. And it was just we were growing every day, so much to the fact that we had to get a bigger one because there was just too much shit. We couldn't even work comfortably in the fucking studio space that we had just gotten.
Mm-hmm.
So then we had to just get a bigger one, and it's just that shit just keeps, it happens so gradually, but it will happen just from getting machines, from getting fucking just piles of fabric. So I guess it's more the importance of having it reflects on your progression and how much shit that you've actually accumulated, whether it's, I guess, for the good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
In part. And also it's important, I think, to leave your home to work, because when we were working, it is cool to work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
like at your house, like wake up and work and like, but out there it gets to a point where it's kind of like it's not cool, and it's kind of like cooler to like go to work for yourself and have it feel real official and like make the most of your time and like still have that time at home where you don't feel like you're constantly pressured to work on something. It'll be like 11:30 at night and we'll be sewing and I'm like, my eyes aren't even open and I'm like, what am I doing?
No, I
You know, and it's like, why?
It's like you, I can see.
Yeah. So I think there's.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say like, I think you're absolutely right, because I've been working from home, and especially now that I'm actually working from home, like for my job, like I'm sick of my house. Like I hate it. I'm like, fuck this place, because I just need to walk out. Because it's true. You're like, whatever the time is, you have everything there, and then you're like, oh shit, it's like nearly in bed. I have to finish this one thing. So I think that's a great point, actually, to try to find a space where you can just do those 8 hours or 6 hours and just tough it all out.
Totally.
And our studio is conveniently like 1 minute away driving, so it's like right there.
Yeah, right down the street.
It's really convenient. So like we don't even have to like worry about food. We just come home for lunch, go back, like, or do whatever. We can fit it in between other things. Like
Feeding the cat and shit.
Yeah, got a meeting, got 2 hours to kill. Like, all right, go to the studio, bang some shit out. It gives you a lot of control about how you run and really like not only in your life, like your business, but in your life too, because it's hard to do both sometimes when you have your own business. Totally. I feel like.
So I want to, and the way that I like to do these interviews, I love to talk about the art and everything, but then I kind of want to get to know you guys. What I remember you said you're passionate about sustainability, but what else are you guys passionate about? Like, I love to just get into conversations about anything and whatever, to kind of get to know you guys, other than just like the artists, but more the people too.
Okay, you go first.
You want me to go first?
We're very different people.
I know.
Kirby's gonna go first.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna get like 2 different responses here. The one thing for me, I fucking love, I guess, like, if we're talking about the sense of like fashion and like what we do, I really love like making something out of like literally nothing, you know? So like the Coogee sweaters that we do, mm-hmm. I just love how they're coming out, and like I just, you know, I think like Coogee in general is a huge inspiration for me personally, just because like they're one of the first brands on a large scale to like achieve like a one of one fucking thing, bro. Like if you get a Coogee sweater, it's very, very fucking rare that if you know someone that has a Coogee sweater, they have the same one in the same colorway and the same cut, like blah blah blah. Like it's fucking just one of those companies, bro. Like they were just way ahead of their time. And the fact that like they're kind of just on the path that they're on now, like they're not doing anything new, they're kind of playing it safe. It's like cool, but I really want to like I would want to like I would just like love to like work with them and just like push them into doing new shit and be like, yo, you know, there's so many opportunities to do new things, whether it's new designs or fucking just like utilizing the shit that you're throwing away, like fucking just like kind of like putting it in our hands. Like, yeah. I don't know, that for me, like I love that kind of shit. And like I said, that I'm just like super hot on that company right now.
What else do you like other than Coogees? Not much.
I guess like I know, dude, it's kind of hard, but like I like individual people doing shit. Like I guess if we're talking like inspirations.
You mean like general things about?
When I was saying like passions, it didn't have to be necessarily
anything. Okay.
Honestly, be like, I like to go see koi fish in the koi pond, and I'm like,
oh, okay, all right, yeah. See, it's kind of hard because it's like I fucking love sewing so much, and I'm just like, that's all I think about, really, honestly.
I respect that though. That shows, you know.
I like fantasy football. That's fun. I guess I'm pretty passionate about like Nintendo 64,
Fuck it.
playing playing classic video games.
Uh-huh.
I
Big
like
movie buff, big TV buff.
I like well, I like cartoons a lot. And
What type of cartoons? Is it like more manga style or just cartoons in general? What's your?
we started watching some anime, like Yu Yu Hakusho is good, and you got Cowboy Bebop and like fucking like Samurai Champloo. All those are banging.
Samurai Champloo is actually great. A friend of mine recommended it to me. I thought it was genius.
Yeah. Really
Oh, you
good.
seen it before?
I literally just finished it like 2-3 weeks ago. I thought it.
What'd you think? What'd you think?
Well, I thought like the start. I'm like, I just love the dynamic, and I love that it's simple, and I love how they make it kind of like historically relevant, even though you don't know if it's real or not. Like I was always trying to connect with people that they were talking about, like, and I loved how they did that. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I just thought that the story had, like, it has such a small thing that you think it's like the whole story, right? Like you're just expecting this big thing at the end when it's actually like the beauty of it is their relationship and how they go through their adventures. So I thought it was actually a really good show.
Okay, so I'm glad that you didn't get upset about the ending, because there's a lot of people that were like pissed about how it ended, and they were just like, this whole fucking thing was just for this fucking guy. And it's just like, bro, like that's the whole point of like what they just went through.
Exactly. I thought it was great because of that. Exactly.
Yeah, no, totally. But yeah, man, and like Yu Yu Hakusho in particular, Dark Tournament, bro.
I haven't seen Dark Tournament. I'm actually gonna write.
Well, all right. So the show is Yu Yu Hakusho. It's YU space HAKUSHO, and the dub is banging because it's from like the 90s. Yeah, hey, it's from the 90s. So like their voices are like so. Like there's the dude Kuwabara, and he's just like, you're a machine, and he's just like fucking bro. So it's just like it's so great, and it aged very well. But the arc of the Dark Tournament in particular is like my favorite anime arc of all time. Like it's just so good. Toguro, like as a villain, like is just his character development is so fucking good. Sorry, you there, bro?
Yeah, I'm there.
All right, yeah. The charger will only go this far.
All right, yeah. We're gonna have to plug in at some point. All right, yeah. I'll let Sarah take over now, just because I feel like I've been taking a lot of the fucking.
No, you're good. Did you get in all your?
Yeah.
All your interests.
SpongeBob, and other cartoons like that. That's good.
Hey, can you
Is
guys?
it okay for sideways? Hey, hold on. I don't know how to do
it. No, go on. Hold on.
I got it. Yep.
There we go. All right.
Wonderful.
Cool. We had to plug in, so
we
don't lose. Are we charging?
Yeah.
It doesn't say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing's on.
What I wanted to say as well about the good thing about when they're dubbed is that the hardest thing when I watch anime is like I'm watching One Piece right now, and I'm like episode 330, and I'm like, I don't have enough time. Like I really genuinely do not, especially when I have to read it, because I'm always like double tasking, doing shit, sewing, doing that, but in original version is a blessing. So I'm gonna actually watch it.
That's what Pancho was saying too. He was like, I was like, oh, do you watch the sub? And he's just like, bro, I watch everything dub because I don't have the fucking time to sit there and read everything. And I was just like, very fair. Yeah, I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Sarah.
The cat. I'll just start off with the cat.
I love my cat. I was playing with her half the time that we're doing this. I'm very sorry, but she needs attention today. I like to make stuff. I've always liked to make stuff. And I say that in a very loose term of like I take my toys apart as a kid. Mostly because I would get punished so much, I have to stay in my room, and I ran out of stuff to do, so I would just take my toys apart. Yeah, I never really had like a good, solid grasp on one craft, thanks to my raging ADHD since I was a kid. And when I got into sewing, it was like that one thing that was like cohesive enough and like a lot of different elements that I could like
bring things into that I enjoy doing. So like I really like poetry. I write a lot of poetry. I went to school for English, so creative writing. And I like to paint. I'm not good at it, but I like to paint.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like it's fun to like be able to incorporate all those things into sewing. And I really enjoy
Poetry.
I already said that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You been here? And sustainability is like a real, it's like, it's not like a thing that you do, I guess, but it's like a theme.
It's a lifestyle.
Things that I do. So
lifestyle. She'll fucking go to Trader Joe's and be like, I can't buy half the shit because it's all wrapped in plastic, and I can't buy plastic.
I respect it.
But it makes it fun because then I only can buy jarred stuff, and then I leave with
or like box
tahini and canned peaches.
That's all we're eating, boys.
I also really like to solve problems, and I think this is also a thing for my ADHD, but it's just fun to like be able to solve problems. And sustainability for me is one of those things that like isn't ever going to be really like, there's always room to like figure out what we can do to like make an improvement, or like what I personally can do to make an improvement. And that's another reason I really love the business. We can like tie that into things really easily with just like setting the example. Like upcycling was never this, not saying that we set the example, but like just in the time that we're in right now, like so many people are upcycling and understanding that like they can make things themselves. And it's cool to like have friends of ours who are like also doing this, and we can like do it together and like just like have ideas that actually like come to life. Like it's really, I really love North Adams and the community.
It's crazy too though, because like we started like in 2016, we started making like pins and patches. That was kind of where we started doing like creative shit.
He started the business with barbecue sauce. So the name Wallasauce comes from a barbecue sauce he would make in high school. Yeah.
It's fire. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna sit here and fucking lie to you.
I'm gonna ask you how you got into that, but keep going.
So
I need to.
I'll side riff real quick. My uncle was like, here's like a basic barbecue sauce recipe, and I must have been like 14 or 15, and I was like, this is banging. And then like he was like, yeah, you just like take some stuff out or add some more stuff and like make it your own. And that's fucking exactly what I did. And like everyone like just fucked with it when I was in high school. So I started selling it in high school. And then I got to college and I like tried pursuing it. And then I was just like, I fucking hate cooking. I hate everything about cooking. Like I'm like, I just like dunking the fucking sauce and like chicken tenders and shit. I'm like, I don't enjoy this. So like I just like stopped. And then that was like the next year we started doing like pins and patches. And then like me, I'm like, oh, I suck at drawing. I'm like, so now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I like went through these cycles where I was like, oh, I think I want to do this, but I can't. But then like, you know, she showed me how to sew, and it was just kind of this thing that like just kind of stuck. And I feel like it's definitely something in my life that I've just like, it's just addicting. Mm-hmm. It's addicting, literally. Like you just like want to do it more and more and want to think about the things that you can make, and the possibilities are just endless, you know? Everything that you fucking buy is like sewn somewhere. Mm-hmm. Fucking, yeah. Well, you know, like that alone, like just the thought of that is like inspiring, because it's like, well, someone fucking out there is doing some crazy ass shit. Like,
and going back to sustainability, that's like sometimes you're like, fuck, bro, this is probably made somewhere in the fucking worst conditions with the worst fucking, you know, like working hours, or like, so I respect it, and I'm fully part of it. That's why, I mean, I've been buying custom, I haven't bought branded shit in like, honestly, I'd say 4 or 5 years, and that's how I kind of got into pièce unique, is because I bought one piece and I'm like, bro, like I paid a third of what I would have paid if it was this big brand, whatever, and it's 5 times cooler, and I'm the only one to fucking own it. And today,
right.
Like, And ever since, I'm like, I started as a collector. Like I was just buying everything I could. And that's how I met Father Akis, because I was buying his shit. And I was like, dude, like I'm gonna try to sell this shit too, because other people have to see it. And it's such a small niche, and it takes, it takes like investigation to find the people that you like. It takes like, your own time to figure out what you like and what is worth buying as well, because not everything is obviously worth buying. But that was the whole idea of it too. And sidetracking too, I think that you're absolutely right. When an artist spends X amount of time, doing the marketing, all these things that don't necessarily kind of fuel the craft, that's where like someone should take over. Like someone should do that for you guys, and you guys should just get scraps and have all the time to create shit, whatever. Really, because that's where like I believe. I mean, then you learn so many things elsewhere. But I that was kind of the ideals of PS Unique in general, is to kind of alleviate that process for people that want to make shit. You don't have to spend hours follow for follow, which is a fucking nightmare, to be honest. I'm at the beginning of it right now. It's tragic.
And you know what though, it kind of like it makes the experience that much better though. Like I feel like, when you fucking just like, I don't know.
No, you have to grind. You have to grind. That makes sense to me. There has to be a process of like, you can't just get everything instantaneously. But that's like the craft itself, right? Like not necessarily like how you guys got where you guys are at, but like how you guys, evolved within the things that you created. So,
yeah, it's not always about the product you create. It's more about how you connect with yourself during the process of making that product, and how you can improve your skill sets based on just like the things that we've watched ourselves grow over the past 5 years, like from not knowing how to make anything to being able to like be confident enough to like make something without a pattern, or like just free ball something with no pins, or like whatever the fuck, like no no restrictions when you have that base skill set and that confidence to keep growing the skill set.
Yeah. And it's so interesting though, because like you meet people, like especially in town, like in North Adams and just in fucking general, like there are people that have eyes for shit. Like that's why there are stylists, and then there are designers. There are people who can look at somebody and say, okay, you would look really fucking good in this pair of shoes, this, that. Whereas like half the time, bro, like when you fucking are a designer, I feel like it's almost like, at least
Hollywood level designer, it feels like it's like not as much work, right?
I was gonna say, just like as an underground designer, it's more of like, this is what I want to make. Like it's almost like being a fucking like a painter and being like, this is what I want to paint, and it's not necessarily for somebody. It's just, this is what I'm feeling. And I feel like that, I don't know, like that, like it's not even a barrier.
It's just the title of like being, I think it just comes with like the artist versus the art thing, and like the connectivity. Like when you sell something as, like when we sell something as Wallasauce, a lot of people buy it like that, we know, like our friends and stuff will buy stuff because they like what we do, and like we make something, not like you said, it can be whatever we want to make. It's not necessarily for somebody, but somebody will buy it and it will become for them because they agree, they enjoy the message, or they enjoy the aesthetic. Whereas when you have those like larger distribution and designers that make one thing that exists 1,000 times, it loses that personability between the person wearing the thing and then the piece also, and that like just doesn't make it doesn't make it as emotionally invested.
And have you guys oh sorry.
Go ahead.
I always interrupt you, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like kind of gauge on when you're finishing, but
the phone lags too. It's cool, I get it.
But did you guys ever see yourself making stuff for, like, as you said, I love the idea that you said it's kind of like the artist creates these things and then they just pop out, and if someone likes it, he likes it and he buys it. But have you guys ever saw yourselves make things to kind of fit a specific aesthetic, or try to do something that would, and how does it feel making that opposed to?
I think we'll have different answers for this one.
So yeah,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I like to go by material. So like when I make something, it's really like, how innovative can I be with what I have?
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that I probably need to focus more on that final vision and like how that actually like connects with the like, what am I making this for visually type of the thematics, you know what I mean? Like the collection style things. Like I feel like everything we make is just kind of like, there's this thing and it's like, here it is. And then we move on, we like make another thing. And it's just kind of like, but like with the Kujis, we're starting to do more collection stuff. But like, yeah, for me, it's like more, I feel like it's more material that influences rather than like, who am I making this for? What am I making this for? But
yeah, I would say, I don't know, like it's hard to make shit for other people because at the end of the day, you're never gonna please everybody.
that too, yeah.
So it's like, if you just make shit that you think is dope and like
If
you
people fuck with
really
you.
stand behind it and you think that it's like original and you like are like, I don't know. That's the one thing too, is like originality is so hard to come by nowadays, especially when there's like so many things to look at
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram and shit. So it's like people aren't even putting their own twists on it. They're just like seeing shit and then doing the same thing.
And
like,
and the thing with the internet is that everything looks easy.
Mm.
And
Right.
it's so frustrating sometimes because it just gets to a point where like people don't understand that like this is how you eat, this is how you pay your bills,
Mhm.
you know. And it's like sometimes it's not like that for people, but for some people it is. And when it becomes this like, I mean, the thing with streetwear is that it doesn't get to this point often. It's more community based than it is rivalries. So it's cool, but it's like every once in a while I feel like there's schemers in the game and they just do whatever they think they did. You know what I mean? Like there's
Milk it.
they milk it. They yeah, right.
Have
But
you
it's
guys
like-
ever heard that song on the TikTok that goes, I made this shit, and you know which one? They're really catchy, and it's like, oh, I did this, and it took a shitload of time, so you better pay for it. Huh?
That's no.
How does it
No,
go?
I've never seen that. No, I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's like a really clever song that this girl made, and it's like, I made this shit, and it took me 19 hours, so don't ask me for a fucking discount, because I want gotta. I love that.
Nah. The one, yeah, I'd say like the one thing too that like I really enjoy like about the process of like doing the stuff that we do, like especially like the Kuji stuff. I find so much solace like in fucking like sewing the shit.
Mhm.
And like for her, because like what we've been doing recently is like she'll pin it because she's like a better like planner and like she'll sketch shit out and like actually
Love to
fucking
plan.
organize it, where like I mean I had the idea for the Kuji and then I just fucking like did it and it was just like there was nothing repeating. Like it just kind of like it just looked so crazy. And then Sarah was like, okay, yeah, these are like cool and loud, but like not everybody is gonna fuck with the style. So like here's a much more like tamed down version of it. But at the same time, like it fits so well with the actual like themes and shit that we do.
Kirby hit the gas pedal and I was like, all right, let's scale it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they both like but that was necessary. We needed to gas pedal it.
Because people,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's just like I said, like you can't please everybody. So like the people who love to wear loud shit are gonna be like, damn, I love the crazy loud things. And then the people who are like, oh, you know, I'd rather wear something a little bit more tame, they'll probably see like the other ones and be like, oh.
And I feel like there's like, if you base on yourself on like majority or minority at the end of the day, there's not so many people that want to rock the loud shit, you know, like realistically, like if you're trying to on a selling perspective, which makes
Yeah.
sense.
And it is that there is that constant tug of war between, okay, but I want full creative capabilities and I don't want to think about the financial discrepancies, but then you have to because it's your job. So you have to make those decisions and sacrifices sometimes, but they're usually always easy because you're still doing something that you want to do. You're just making an adaptation or whatever.
And comparatively to like other jobs, this is probably the one where you can like,
Oh.
I'll tone it down a bit, but like, you know, like you can still be full of freedom in that regard.
You know, the thing I think about a lot when I'm like sewing like these fucking like 3-inch pieces fucking together on this like mad big fucking thing. Like I think to myself all the time, I'm like, I really enjoy doing this because I know that there are not only thousands, but probably millions of workers out there that are literally doing the most monotonous sewing ever for days on end for years, bro. So it's like the fact that I have like the privilege to be able to sew whatever the fuck I want, however the fuck I want, like in this like setting and space, like it really like makes me appreciate, you know, how fortunate I am to be able to do this kind of shit. And it really makes me like, you know, appreciate the shit that we're doing for sure a lot more.
It's humbling for sure. I mean, I think that's a great point that you stated.
Yeah. It's sad, bro. You know, no one, you never like to see those fucking videos of the people just fucking in fast fashion factories, just fucking pumping their.
But like in that regards, it's like, that's why I respect what you did before Sarah, where you can go to fucking Trader Joe's and not buy plastic. It's because I'm the first one to preach that shit. But then look, sometimes I indulge. I still buy from whatever the fuck it is. And I still, you know.
So do I.
Yeah,
we all do, bro. We're
do.
Humans, bro.
But the effort that you take and the consciousness that you bring to the things that you do are what make the difference. Because if you're just ignorantly consuming things and not, you know, like understanding the outcome of your actions, then you know, like that's different than like saying, all right, I'm gonna buy no more than 10 things that have plastic this time when I go to the store.
Right.
And it's like just setting goals for yourself and stuff like that. Like it's interesting how like people, not to say this in any kind of way, but it's interesting how people think it's hard to change things about like how like bigger picture things when like everything starts so small. Like everything starts so small. And like and it's just crazy. Like it's the solutions are right there, and like it's all just like the perfectionism isn't the solution. It's more about learning and education and adaptation to, you know, what's most convenient, because there's other systems at play. Like you can't go to the store, and not everybody can go to the store and buy fresh food because it's more expensive. So not everybody can afford the option to not buy plastic or meat, you know what I mean? And there's just, so the variables and just that consciousness of like, you know, sometimes I indulge. It's like, you should be able to. It shouldn't be on you, you know? It's like, there's other things at play. Right. Yeah. A little off. Sorry.
You're absolutely right. And I think that what you said about setting yourself like goals, like there's always this huge idea. And like making PS Unique was kind of that for me. Was like, I had this big idea doing this and that, but like I realized that you have to start like not small, but minuscular. Like tiny, and then start doing this. Like, what can I do like in these next 10 minutes that can bring me closer to this thing? And then you add enough 10 minutes, it makes an hour. And then within an hour, you can make stuff that kind of prolongs to that. But like that understanding, and especially it is probably different for everyone, but like being able to figure what works for you and be how you can be the most efficient towards a goal that you want to set yourself. I think that's probably key to going towards a future where we can, you know, not maybe indulge all the time, but indulge only sometimes.
I agree. And like people, and being conscious of your habits and like being able to admit, like you were just saying, like it's not easy, but it's like, it's also not the hardest like thing that anyone's ever done. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you guys busy on time, or you guys still have some?
No, we're good. Yeah.
Chilling.
Cool. So I wrote some stuff while you guys were talking, but I had just a question, like towards like your person. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this this whole like metaverse, this whole thing that is like happening in the world and how we're getting very digitalized? What is your opinions on that?
It's so scary. It's like really scary, honestly, because it's like it's almost like nudging people to be even more disconnected with reality, than ever before. And it's like, why do we want that as a society? But like it's gotten to the point where that is where it's at. And this fucking dude Zuck, he's gonna be making billions if this shit works out.
Which is already making billions, and you're like, why, bro? Why'd you have to make more billions?
Exactly, bro. It's not even like, it's like, why did you even fucking have to do it? Like and it really is,
It's
bro.
a control thing,
Dude, but it really is like that fucking Black Mirror episode, bro. Like they
that
did the
was-
side by side on like Lil Juke shit, and I was like,
Yeah, it's scary.
it's so scary. It's so scary.
And if you would think about it, like it makes sense that he's kind of the one that's trying to tap into it initially, right? Because like, I mean, like what are we going towards? Even like the art stuff, like the whole NFT stuff is like it's a stab to the heart sometimes. I'm like, bro, like I bought a painting last week for like whatever X amount, and I see these guys buying this shit for fucking, give it to that guy that spends hours like detailing and doing that. And it's like, it's kind of like, I don't know. I understand it, how it can be efficient for like a pool of people. Like today there's graphic designers. Great. We finally made a medium where like these people can sell their pieces, because how can you sell a digital asset that's not just, so
right.
Beautiful, like great idea, amazing. But at this point, it's like, I think your point too, like the schemers, it's like at this point, it's just a milking of whatever the fuck that is. And
but you know what too? It's when the big companies get involved and they ruin the shit for the small companies. It's just like, watch, they're doing all this shit like Paramount Plus and like Sony and fucking all these big companies are starting to make like NFT and like, like all these places are starting to like think about like NFTs and shit. And it's like, as soon as they do it, bro, the whole fucking like the whole thing is just gonna die, because it's like yeah, you fucking like own that piece of whatever the fuck, but it's like it's gonna shift again to a point in time where it's like everyone's gonna be like, who fucking cares, bro? Like
cares, bro. Like,
yeah, like
that's like a great point, bro. Who cares that you own that line or that phrase or whatever the fuck it is? It's
you know what matters, bro, is like if I ever fucking walked into Jay-Z's fucking house and I saw a fucking Basquiat painting fucking hanging above fucking his wall, I'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like totally different story, bro. Like totally different ball game when you're talking like, something that like you're gonna cherish for like the rest of your life, and that it's gonna like gain fucking equity because it's just such an exclusive thing. I just don't see like these things doing that. But fucking people said that about the fucking internet, bro. Look at them now. So
like I think it has so much power to it. Like just, I mean, if you want to get into that, like I invested in this like NFT, like I'm shitting on NFTs, but I'm in them too. But I invested in this like NFT game, which is like the game itself is like a Pokemon type of thing. It's called Axie Infinity. And the whole idea is like you get to own the characters that are in the game, and then you get them to breed and they have children and whatever. But so like I own specific, so have World of Warcraft back in the day. Imagine if the weapons were all NFT size and you could do that and have ownership over whatever. Like you're grinding, I'm spending hours doing this shit, whatever. So, there, like it makes sense, and there's actually a huge future for that. So these are the things where like I think there's beauty of it. Like I'm thinking about even trying to create what's it called, certificate of authenticities through NFTs, right? Like instead of having just the paper version, like having something that's like linked to something that you can see who owns it and where it kind of goes down in the line of like ownership. Because I think that's cool. That's I want to see who the fuck owned this drawing or this painting or that thing. I got it, right? Like,
yeah, that's cool.
Damn, I didn't even think about that either. Like, imagine owning like the fucking like things in WoW or like RuneScape, bro. Like
happening, bro. It's the beginning. Like now, it's the big thing. They're about to go crazy. Like,
that would have changed. That would have changed the way that like they were making money hand over fist, bro.
I mean, we probably would have been rich. Like I probably would have been rich by now. That shit. Like, I spent hours for nothing, and that's the crazy thing is like when you realize like we're spending. That's why like it's actually a beautiful ecosystem. Is because you spend time playing, which essentially you're mining the coin. So like the in-game currency, it's an actual currency that tomorrow I can go buy and sell on Binance, and then the real like. Well, if you like this thing about Axie Infinity, the beauty of it is that like this token is like exchangeable anywhere in the world. So someone that doesn't have enough money to kind of purchase the initial NFT, so have the starting price, you can give this team to other people. Like that's what we're doing currently. Like we have these NFTs, but we don't have the time to grind on them like X amount of hours a day to mint the coin. So we have people in the Philippines that do it, because in the Philippines, they had this huge boom during the pandemic where like everyone was playing this Axie Infinity game. Like literally 50% of the population was on it, and they were making more than they were making in their like day jobs. So like the children of the children of the parents, which are like helping the parents out with their own income, were allowed to mint and play. And so like now we have like X amount of people that play this game on a daily and get paid by it and can literally help their families boost up, because you don't have to have a degree. You just have to be a gamer, bro. And most of these kids are fucking gamers. They spend hours on that shit. So
wow, that's fire. See, and that's the shit that like, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's great, because you're giving people who wouldn't have that opportunity the fucking opportunity to like make that money and like do that shit. Because it's like, holy shit, that shit can come easy to people, bro. Like just playing games and algorithms and all that shit. I'm like, you know, it takes a real fucking savant, bro, like a real fucking smart person to like really understand like how the numerics and all that shit works.
It's crazy.
Yeah, bro, it's nuts.
But yeah, exactly. And that's what I think it's time. Like we should take this beautiful technology that we've created, but always try to figure out how we can tie it into like real things, man. Like instead of just, I don't know, like, yeah, just thinking that you're cool or whatnot. Or you know,
yeah.
I did hear though that was like the Board 8, was it the Board 8 Yacht Club or something? Their NFTs were supposed to be like, when you downloaded them to your wallet, like there was gonna be like so much interactive shit that you could do with your fucking AV and stuff. Which that I was like, man, that's pretty fucking cool, because then you're making it interactive across like all these platforms. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like some weird stuff where it was like, you know, but I guess like my friend was telling me that the creator of it, like sold all those like NFTs, bro, and then just went ghost. He's just been off the face of the earth, bro.
Beautiful.
But like he made so much money off of just the NFTs alone. Crazy. And then didn't follow through on like making the whole like universe or something. I don't know. I honestly, I'm not too informed, so I could be fucking wrong.
No, but you're
quoting on that.
Like you're,
but like, yo, man, I was like, that's a cool idea, and I hope that he ends up like coming through on that. But man,
he's gone. He's not nowhere.
Yeah. And that's the world, bro.
No, back somewhere. But no, I think yeah, I agree with that. But you know that whole the NFTs there with the ones that sold for like X amount of millions, or like whatever, the crypto some shit, the crypto punks. I didn't know this, but did you, like, when you buy one of these, you're actually included into this like social club of people that bought these NFTs. So essentially you're buying a ticket to be with some multi-trillionaires type of shit. So like, I'm like, huh. So they're literally buying a ticket to be able to like what that is, because it's fuck you money at that point. Like, bro, if you have that type of money, it's absolute fuck you money. So it's just a lot of fuck you money people hanging out together and being like, yo, like, fuck you. And he's like, fuck you too.
Right. That's like, I'm pretty sure I saw that Jay-Z bought his CryptoPunk for like $500 million or something like that.
It's absolutely ludicrous. I mean,
it's just nuts, dude. It's literally just crazy. But for him, bro, and if you think about it, for him to do that, that's an investment.
Yeah, but it scares me, bro. What this scares me is like the value of money itself. Like, if like there was a story about this guy, and this is like the whole crypto shit. There's a guy that invested $7.9 thousand or like $9,000 in Shiba Inu, which is this fucking crypto coin that went crazy like in the past. Bro, a year and a half ago, he was worth $5.4 billion today, out of a $7.9 thousand investment. Like, this guy today is worth 5.4 billion. So he's like stacking up with Jack Ma and Kanye West, and he's like a fucking like one of the 50 billionaires in the world out of it. So like what is money at that point? Like, what we actually spend time creating, doing, like our time and everything to sell these things for money. But like, even that itself is like, bro, it's gonna go to a point where it's meaningless, because that shit, how can it matter if it's so you know? And it kind of it fucks me up when I'm thinking about money, because I'm like, bro, I don't even want that shit. Like, I want, give me a house, give me a fucking piece of land, give me a fucking
right
fucking equity, bro. Seriously.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we went to the NFT thing, but I was the metaverse is scary as fuck, man, and I hope that that people are able to snap out of it.
Yeah,
100%.
seriously.
Yeah.
Especially the children. That's kind of what scares me, man. I think that
Oh,
it's really doing bad things to like this whole social media thing. Like, dude, thank God we were born when we were born, because fuck, I don't know where I would be if I was.
imagine not playing sports, bro. Like I think about that all the time. Like if I like wasn't outside playing baseball, I don't know what the fuck I would be doing.
I swear.
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
scary.
it's a good point. I just want to, do you guys have any subjects or things that you want to talk about or bring on to the? Okay.
Yeah, we're pretty.
Sarah, I have a question for you. You said you like poetry. Do you write poetry?
Ooh,
Can someone read your poetry? Is that?
I have a private IG for it. If you want, I can give it
please.
to you. I just don't like to because it's kind of
Personal.
depressing.
I mean,
but yeah, I'd be happy to share with you, and it's no problem.
I'd love to. I'd be interested. Okay, amazing. I think that you guys are an amazing dream team. I just want to put it out there. You guys seem to have figured out how to make things work in like symbiosis. I really respect it, especially creating and crafting together. I think, like, I know that I make shit by myself, and it's a lonely journey. But having someone, it must be very nice. So, like, honestly, kudos on that. And if you guys have something you want to say to, I don't know, the people that would watch this interview or anything before anything, it can be motivational or not. Depressing too works.
I'll give some motivational words out there.
Yeah.
I guess if you're watching this and you're just debating on whether you want to start fucking doing anything like sewing or fucking like drawing or anything like creative like that, I'd say, you know, just literally just start doing it. Like if you can't, like if your attention span isn't long enough to do it for fucking, you know, like hours, like just do like 15 minutes at a time, you know, and fucking just like you got to start somewhere, you know, whether it's fucking it's anything, music, fucking anything. I don't know. That's all I was. That's where I was getting at, you know, because like I feel like not enough people do shit nowadays. So it's like just get a hobby and just kind of stick to it. If you don't like it, then switch it. You know.
I think it's funny because most of the ending, whenever I ask that question, it always tends to be like a very reactive, like, yo, just do it, because it is like it's a very simple but very deep thing. If you like think about it, you're like, oh, just actually do it, no matter what it is, like sustainability, this and that, like these things that you think about, just actually put them head to paper and do it and see where it goes.
Like you said, what can you do in the next 10 minutes that gets you closer to this goal? Like set goals and work towards them.
Start small and gradually build up. Yeah,
exactly.
for sure.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. I'm not going to stop this interview, but I'm just going to stop the recording.